one thing I do every single day of my life, it's basically a self-check. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. And so every single day, I wake up and I think, right, am I being an idiot? Am I leading myself astray? Am I leading all of you astray? Yada, yada, yada. Now, every day it will be a relatively quick check, but probably at least once a week, I'll do an in-depth check just to make sure I'm not being a tool. And I think pretty much every trading pub that we do, we effectively go through the motions and have this idiot check. But when a newsworthy trigger event happens, like this recent exploit that's happened, you really do have a long, deep, hard look going, wait a minute, what, you don't know what you don't know. What have I missed? Am I being a tool? And so I recently, or literally yesterday and the day before, I had a very long, hard look just to reevaluate, am I still right when it comes to Bittensor? And the quick answer is yes. And for all the reasons that I've already, spoken about before. So again, you have to start from the big picture. So I went through, even the big charts again. Obviously, these move very slowly. These are massive, bear moth charts. So nothing really changes here since the cuddle where I went through them all. So that's fine. I then checked up on the liquidity cycle. Again, that's still pretty much where it was when I discussed it on the cuddle. Went through this bit here, and last week I showed you how on every halving there is always volatility. There's always a bit of a double top or a bit of a sell-off, etc. So nothing has changed there at all. It's to be expected. If anything, looking at the price right now, where is the price? If we move this browser over here, Bitcoin seems to have, it looks like it's trying to do a bit of a fake, or in my opinion, a bit of a fake out, going, hey everyone, here's a double top. Let's get a naked chart. So here we go. There's a naked chart. In my opinion, this is a fake out. Because every man and his dog, or person and their dog will be going, yeah, big old head and shoulder, double top. There's a neckline there. The distance between the neckline and the peaks is 72 to, call it 12, 13K. So 12, 13K, so we're looking at sort of this cluster of support. Now, from a pure technical perspective, just looking at this chart, naked, that's what I would say. If you sent this chart to me, not knowing that it was Bitcoin, got rid of the price, etc., I too would say, yeah, double top for sure. But when you then look at it in the light of the halvings, this isn't the first time Bitcoin has done a bit of a fake out around the halving. So the only time it did actually follow through was this one here, where in 2016 we had that halving. We had a bit of a, I wouldn't really say a topping pattern, but it did actually follow. It fell through. So how many months after? So how many days? Sorry, let's just figure out. So we started a big old dump, 28 days, so a month after the halving, and it dumped hard. So it basically dropped another oh no, wrong way around. It dropped. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everyone. There we go. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question. Yeah, it dumped 38% a month after that halving, and then on the next halving, 2020, we had basically sideways movement for the best part of 4 months. And then this brings us to where we are now. Now, will we get, a 30% dump from here? I don't think so, personally. That would bring us about, yeah, like I said, down to the 40s. Everyone would shit their pants. I mean, the amount of fear that the crypto world is having right now, if we move down to, the low 40s, you're gonna see all the same sort of weak hands going, right, Bitcoin's going to zero again, folks. Or Bitcoin's going to 10K. It's not going to happen. I still think there's more probability that we've got stuff to the upside. So So yeah, remember, we're still in this phase. So the big picture stuff hasn't changed at all. And then you have to get into more of the weeds when it comes, or actually, I can't do a trading pub without referring to the bullet points. And the bullet points is still the same as last week. We're here just before rate cuts. Just you wait. The World Economic Forum is now posturing that there won't be rate cuts before 2025. If, however, you're a geek like me and you study all these announcements and stuff like that, you will see that it's total horseshit. The amount of times that the Fed chair or a big old entity like the WEF, etc., will say, "Oh no, there's no rate cuts coming," blah blah blah, and then guess what? Rate cuts happen. It's just political posturing, just trying to. They know that people watch the news, and they know that people believe what they see on CNN and Fox News, etc. So they'll happily fool the idiots that consume that mainstream stuff. I like to think that we are slightly more aware. So I'm pretty sure there will be at least the beginning of rate cuts before 2025. So we're there, and when it happens, bit by bit, and then whoom, it falls off a cliff. And that's where all the fun and games start. So until we have these rate cuts, or whatever way they want to sort of sugarcoat it, because they will try and sugarcoat it, eventually it'll happen fast. So yeah, we could see volatility until then. So big picture hasn't changed. I'm hunky-dory. This is game time. Then the Bittensor exploit comes along, and then everyone really starts to get scared. So I went through this line by line, and it's actually nothing to be worried about. Absolutely nothing. The thing is that Twitter does act like a bit of an echo chamber to a degree. And so, yes, it has been, could you call it being hacked? I guess so. A malicious piece of software was downloaded, which affected a very small amount of people. So 99% of Tau holders were not affected. There were 3 validators that were affected, and a few people that unfortunately downloaded the Pi package within this short period of time. But look at this. So the attack begins at 7:06. It was detected 20 minutes later, and then it was neutralized 20 minutes after that. And I'm chatting a lot with Will Squires at the moment. So do you remember last week I was like, who the hell is this Will Squires guy? So it's Subnet Alpha. So Will Squires has just launched another subnet. He's got 4 subnets now. This guy is an absolute beast in this eco. So yeah, macro cosmos. And he was saying that it's absolutely, in the tech world, it's absolutely unreal the speed of how it was detected and neutralized and contained that fast. And the cool thing is, Will's coming around my house next week or the week after, so that's going to be quite fun. We can get some inside shizzle from that. I'm going to take him flying. That was basically my carrot. So I was like, come over, we'll have lunch, we'll go and fly and do some fun stuff. So yeah, he's going to come over, and then I will find some alpha for you folks, because obviously he knows this. Like, you must know Bittensor better than most people to have 4 freaking subnets. So that is quite impressive. Anyway, so my thoughts. This is why I thought I put this on Twitter. I thought it's best to get info out there. So basically, anyone that was affected were the people that do command lines. So that's none of us. All of us, if you've listened to me, are using the Nova wallet, and you're safe. If you've literally bought Tau and stored it in exactly the way that I've shown you, you were completely safe. So it's just these were the affected participants. As I said, like less than 1% of the entire Bittensor ecosystem was affected. So yeah, unlikely to be affected if you're delegating stake, that's all of us, and did not perform one of these operations above. And I'm pretty sure none of us were doing any of that. You're using a third-party application. Yep, we use Nova. And your funds were stored and not moved during this period. That I don't know. Maybe some people got affected in the 20-minute period there, but I think it's going to be very low. Yeah, and this is the key part of the whole thing. Finally, and for completeness and clarity, this attack did not affect the blockchain or subtensor code. That's the key thing here. Okay, so when people say, "Oh, you know, this network got hacked," there's varying levels of of being hacked. So the core Bitcoin code has never been hacked. Never. It's normally the peripheral stuff around the core chain that gets hacked. It's normally a social engineering of some sort. And so what's happened here is that the core code was not hacked. So Bittensor is still has full integrity. So yeah, the underlying Bittensor protocol remains uncompromised and secure. And just for clarification, I posted a picture of this. So this is what I was aware of this little exploit in 2010. I didn't realize actually how severe it was. So here, Bitcoin actually had as it says here, a critical vulnerability. Now the core code I don't think was affected. Obviously I'm not a techie, but from my limited understanding, the core code wasn't affected, but it affected one part of it, which allowed this attacker to basically mint 184 billion Bitcoin. So yeah, and what happened is that the community and Satoshi took immediate action. Network was effectively paused as developers worked on a fix. Blah 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 blah. It's all very similar. So in Bittensor's case, it was the Open Tensor Foundation, which is Satoshi, and the various core people. They paused. They paused it and fixed it. And again, ETH had the same thing. ETH had $150 million stolen from it. And what did Ethereum do? They went, let's hard fork Ethereum. That's why we now have ETH instead of ETC. And yeah, they just disbanded or just stopped sending hash rate to Ethereum Classic. I mean, that was way worse than this. So yeah, I do think people are over exaggerating a bit. So my personal thoughts, not many people were actually affected. The people that were affected, they were just the big boys. So yeah, so this is the key thing here. So a lot of people are wondering, and I did initially wonder, wait a minute, how can it be paused? So how a decentralized crypto could just be popped into safe mode and paused for a bit. The thing is, in reality, nothing is truly decentralized in crypto. Again, even Bitcoin, especially when you look at hash rate. Yeah, basically Bitcoin is very centralized these days. With Bittensor, so much of it is decentralized. So subnets, miners, validators, they're all decentralized. And in fact, I'll just read it instead of reading around it. But until Dynamic Town was rolled out, the Open Tensor Foundation still has the pseudo key. That's effectively the main key to the house. They run the majority of the nodes, and the servers are not decentralized. I mean, effectively, when you really boil down to it, I reckon most crypto are ran off AWS. Just think about it. Most people that are, that are running a crypto, they most likely are running it on Azure or AWS. So it's very rare that you see the servers decentralized as well. And also Foundry, as I spoke about last week, has a lot of nodes. With something so new, innovative and fluid, the plan was always to decentralize Tau over time as it matures, an orderly, progressive decentralization, so to speak. And I think that is actually probably the best way to do it in terms of first principles. Because if you just completely release it into the wild, like where no one has a pseudo key, no one has any sort of influence in the very early stages, bad actors can come along and effectively manhandle it. Even Bitcoin had an orderly, progressive decentralization. The fact that in 2010, Satoshi and the core devs could effectively pause Bitcoin for a bit and fix that vulnerability shows that they too had a progressive decentralization. So again, nothing to worry about. Yeah, and again, now today's not the time, but I do think I may have to make another video. Maybe I don't want to waste people's time on a trading pub, but I think I should go into the weeds a little bit more with Bittensor, because I'm pretty sure now, just judging the reaction of Twitter, most people probably haven't done more than 10 hours of focused research into Bittensor. And most people are probably likely aped in simply based on strong conviction of others. And even myself, I've literally dedicated the last 6 months of my life into this, and I feel grossly intellectually inadequate and behind the curve. So I'm more than happy to say that, but I'm trying to keep up. Subnet Alpha will definitely help. It's already helped me quite a lot. So again, another big shout out to Lewis, who's done a lot of work on this. Bittensor is only a couple of years old, and also when you look at it, Tau is, at the time of writing this, was 67% down. Most of the other AI cryptos are around the same level, if not more, some of them, and none of these have had to contend with a big attack. So, and it also doesn't help now that the dollar is plummeting. Not plummeting, is looking aggressively bearish, which I think that's going to freak a lot of people out. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a bit of a fake out to the upside. And this is still the case. Every now and then, just for shits and giggles, I go to Gecko and have a look at how's the AI category doing. So right now we're at 27. So of all the AI crypto on the planet, it's only $24.5 billion market cap. That's every AI combined. I mean, that's such a joke. Even bigger of a joke is that dog themed coins are position 24. Like, I will eat my hat. I will eat my metaphorical, or hell, my physical hat, if the AI category is not in the top 5 by end of this cycle. And Lewis, feel free to clip that and serve this to me if I'm wrong. I'll find a very small child's hat to eat. But honestly, I have never had more conviction about the AI space for crypto, because the AI space in the real world is just going absolutely nuts. As I think did I talk about that? Yeah, here we go. I've called much crazier things on other coins over the last 8 years, and they've hit. Some haven't, some half hit. Trading and investing is not about being right, it's about making money. For me, the best risk-adjusted return is still Tau. Especially with what's about to happen in the world of AI. Elon's buying 100,000 H100s from Nvidia. SSI has just launched. That's Safe Superintelligence by Ilya Sutskever. How many H100s will they need? Or if their sole goal is to create safe superintelligence, which means they're going to at least have 100,000 H100s or equivalent compute power. Huge corporates around the world are rushing to develop compute stacks and data sets. So what's happened over the last, especially since COVID, with all of the 5 trillion in stimulus pumps, a lot of big corporations during that tumultuous time, they borrowed money at basically 0 or 0.5%, like Michael Saylor, and they've done nothing with it. Okay, so this is what big companies do when there's times of trouble. They downsize and they borrow money. So if you look at the FANG TM stocks, there was a period in 2021 or 2022 where all of them were just firing like 20,000 employees left, right, and center, and they were borrowing huge amounts. And even Bezos sold a bunch of stock. So you have all these corporates sat there on billions of dollars. They don't have a clue what to do because they're run by idiot MBA holders that have never run a business in their lives. It's running a business by committee, by middle line managers effectively. And so all they do almost every single time is, okay, we've got $10 billion in the bank. Let's just do a stock buyback. Let's just boost our EPS. And by buying back shares from the market and boosting their earnings per share, they get their big paydays, their Christmas bonuses, yada yada yada. So but I like to think, from what I see, is that a lot of these slightly more progressive companies that are sat on oodles of cash, they're starting to think, wait a minute, what is the ultimate commodity moving forwards in the next 5 to 10 years. The ultimate commodity are two things. It's compute power and data sets, mainly unique data sets. That's the key thing there. AI, so I think if you're looking at second order consequences, like I like to do, and you're of the opinion that AI is unstoppable now, as in this hype train, this capital, this eyeball attention train is unstoppable. So if you're in the opinion like myself that is the case, what is the second order consequence? Because everyone's going to be like, okay, AI, everyone needs compute power, let's buy some GPUs. And that's what a lot of companies are doing, just as a screw it can't hurt us to buy $1 billion worth of GPUs, because it will be at least have utility in the future. But the second order consequence, which I don't see many people doing, is data sets. And I use a chef analogy. If you take 5 world-class chefs, I don't know, you take Gordon Ramsay, and he's the only chef I know, Delia Smith, I don't know, 5 world-class chefs, and you give them 4 ingredients. So you give them egg, flour, milk, sugar, okay? And you go, right, make as many things as you can with these 4 ingredients. What are they all going to come up with? Probably the same stuff. They'd all bake a cake, cupcakes, some sort of tarts. All these 5 chefs will come up with exactly the same stuff. But what if I then sneaked a secret 5th ingredient or a secret 6th ingredient to Gordon Ramsay? Do you think he'd have an edge over his peers? Yeah. And all it takes is one extra ingredient for one chef to absolutely dominate the other chefs. So right now, so talking about this sort of my chef analogy, the whole world has the same 4 ingredients. So every AI model that's out there, they have all of the data of Twitter, all of the data of Reddit and YouTube and whatever. There are scripts out there. You could literally get the transcript of every YouTube video. Boom, that's a data set. It's not hard. Anyone can do it. Any tech team could do it. So everyone's got the same data. What these big companies don't have is unique data sets. So if I was to really dedicate my life into unique data sets, what would I do? Because that is a multi-billion dollar business opportunity. So I would be looking at biotech companies. I would be looking at tiny or relatively small research labs. Is there a research lab that has crazy data in protein folding? Because all of a sudden proprietary info. So I would if I was Facebook or Elon or any of these AI companies, I would literally be going around buying up universities, research groups, labs. And I would just be trying to hoard all of those ingredients. And we see this at various levels. So during lockdown, breweries, very smart breweries, they're like, oh, wait a minute. The cost of pesticide has quadrupled. The cost of manure has quadrupled. The cost of energy is going up. Ukraine's kicking off, blah, blah, blah. A lot of very switch-on breweries went, oh, shit, we need to buy as many of the core ingredients for beer and stuff as possible. So they bought all the barley. They bought all of the whatever. And some breweries literally cornered the freaking market. They're like, right. They bought as much of, hops and whatever as they could, knowing that there was a shortage to come, and then they resold at crazy rates. This happens in every industry. In the 2008 subprime mortgage collapse, there's a guy in Norwich who was a property guy, and he basically saw the shit hitting the fan. Letting agents were going bust left, right, and centre. So what did he do? He wasn't an estate agent. He went around buying every lettings company he could find. And he gobbled up like 5 or 6, maybe 7 different letting agents and some estate agents, knowing that, yes, they were bleeding money, but eventually the property market would get back on its feet. And guess what? He had all of the deal flow in Norwich. Any house that was going up for rent or being sold, he had his finger on the pulse, and he bought up all the prime property for himself. Like, every single situation, every market there are second or third order consequences. So if I was sat there on billions of dollars right now, and I've got, and I'm thinking, holy shit, how can I deploy this money? And I'm not going to buy back my own stock. I would literally just dump it in GPUs and buying up unique data sets. And as I said, if a little idiot from Norwich is thinking this, I promise you the big boys are doing this as well. Like, this AI tsunami is unstoppable. It is unstoppable. So Elon says AGI is about a year, maybe 2 years away. If we look at the godfather, or the secondary godfather of AI, which is Ray Kurzweil, who's been in the AI business for 60 years, he says AGI is within 5 years. 5 years. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, for me, Elon and Ray Kurzweil said, basically they both agree that AGI is 5 years away, or less than 5 years. So yeah, ultimately, no one has enough AI exposure in their portfolios, in my opinion. And I will be talking about AI a bit more at the cuddle. I'll be doing a proper 2-hour AI bit, but I just want you to understand that when AGI comes, it's going to be more prolific and more profound than if aliens literally just landed in Times Square. It'll be as crazy. Because the moment AGI is just even on our, one tick smarter than humans, next week they'll be 10 times smarter than humans. The week after that, probably not even a week after that, the next day they'll be 1 billion times smarter than humans. And within a year, they will be, we are literally ants. So it's going to be that big an issue. Now, bring it back to us, and not getting into stuff that we can't control, it just means there's going to be a hype wave. Just like crypto always does. And that's all we're doing. The only things us mere plebs can do is try and make as much money in the shortest time frame possible. So we have options, because money, that's all money does. It just gives you options. So you can get, bugger off into the countryside and be off-grid in every way that you can think of. So that's my little take in terms of, am I being a Kool Aid victim? No, I'm not. I generally think this is, my stance is based on first principle thinking.